What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a B.E.S. Regenesis deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Mimi. And this deck is an extremely interesting deck with just how well the B.E.S. and Regenesis cards work together. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. And definitely give Mimi some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Blaster Cannon Core. This card is an amazing 3-of in the build because this card is an awesome fact that if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon this card from your hand, but you can only summon this card once per turn that way. And if this card is normal or special summon, you place 3 counters on this card and it cannot be destroyed by battle. But at the end of the damage step, if this card battled, you remove a counter from this card, and if you can't, destroy this card. We then play 3 copies of Covered Core. Covered Core, just like your copy of Blaster Cannon, actually has 2,500 attack points, which is why it works so well with the Regenesis cards, which is so cool. But this card is definitely a 3-of in the build. We then play 3 copies of Big Core Mark III. This card is definitely a 3-of as well, because this card is actually one of the most powerful B.E.S. cards, with the ability that if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. And if this card is normal or special summon, you place 3 counters on this card and it cannot be destroyed by battle. And at the end of the damage step, if this card battles a monster, you remove a counter from this card, but if you can't, destroy this card. You can also banish this card in the graveyard to shuffle all B.E.S. monsters in the graveyard in the deck, which is super cool just to help us reset all of our B.E.S. monsters so we can go through them all over again. We then play 3 copies of Regenesis Archfiend. Archfiend is an amazing 3-of in the build because this card helps us our entire Regenesis engine start rolling. As this card is built, you can special summon this card from your hand by revealing another monster with 2,500 attack or defense points in your hand, which is a great ability to be able to use because our copy of Covered Core and Blaster Cannon Core actually have 2,500 attack points. This card also has a great ability that if this card is normal or special summon, you get a Regenesis card from your deck or banishment to your hand, except another copy of this card. And all of our Regenesis monsters actually share an awesome common effect that during your opponent's end phase, if this card's in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can actually add this card back to your hand so you can use them all over again. We might see a copy of Regenesis Sage. Sage is an amazing 1-of in the build because this card can easily be summoned out to your side of the field, as this card along with your copy of Dragon and Warrior have an awesome effect that if a monster with 2,500 original attack or defense points is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is a great ability to instantly bring this card out to your side of the field. Plus this card is a walking negate. We then play a single copy of Regenesis Dragon. Dragon is an amazing 1-of in the build because this card can actually deal with your opponent's back row because quick effect, you can tribute this card, target a spell or trap card that your opponent controls, and banish it. We then play a single copy of Regenesis Warrior. Warrior is definitely a 1-of in the build because this card has an awesome ability to quick effect, tribute this card, and then target a monster that your opponent controls and return it back to the hand, giving the ability to bounce cards off the field. We then play a single copy of Regenesis Lord. Lord is crazy powerful in this deck and an awesome boss monster to help us OTK. As this card has the ability, it cannot be normal summoned or set, it must be special summoned from your hand by banishing a 1-face monster you control with 2,500 original attack and defense points. And you can only special summon this card once per turn this way. And if this card is special summoned, you can actually set a Regenesis spell or trap card from your deck and it gains 2,500 attack points during the battle phase, only pushing this card to 5,000 attack points. And what makes this card absolutely insane is it also does piercing damage, which is crazy powerful in a 5,000 attack point monster. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's definitely a 3-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Droll is really good as a 3-out in the build to basically just stop your opponent from touching the deck for the rest of the turn. We then play 3 copies of Fluros. Fluros is amazing to help us dig in the deck for the exact cards that we need. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is an amazing one of the deck to basically just help us get to our B.E.S field spell, B.E.F. We then play 3 copies of Regenesis. Regenesis is definitely a 3-out in the build because this card is basically a Rhoda and a Monster Born all wrapped into one. With the ability to take a Regenesis monster from the deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard, or if you control a Regenesis monster, you can add a monster 2500 attack and defense from your deck to your hand instead. And if this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can banish this card, target a Regenesis monster in the graveyard, and special summon it, which is an awesome ability to instantly bring a monster to your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Regenesis Code. Regenesis Code is basically like a copy of E-Tully with the ability to special summon a Regenesis monster from the deck, but send it to the graveyard during your opponent's end phase, which is totally fine because we can actually recycle our Regenesis cards during our opponent's end phase, which is so cool. This card also has the ability to also, until the end of the next turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon the X-Check, which is not that big of a deal because we don't really need the X-Check all that much in this build. This card also has the ability during your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can banish it and then target one of your banished Regenesis monsters and special summon it. We then play 3 copies of B.E.F. Zelos. Zelos is an amazing 3-of in the build and basically makes the entire B.E.S engine run. With the ability that when this card is activated, you get to add a copy of Boss Rush from your deck to your hand, and all B.E.S monsters you currently control gain 500 attack and defense points while this card's on your side of the field. Also, your opponent cannot target them with card effects, and they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects either, and once per turn, you can special summon a B.E.S monster from your hand. And if a B.E.S monster is normally special summoned to your field, place a counter on it, giving it a 4th counter, which is great to help us protect our B.E.S monsters. We then play 3 copies of Boss Rush. Boss Rush is amazing as a 3-of in the build and such a powerful card to be able to get to their copy of Zelos, as this card is the ability the controller of this card cannot normal summon or set, which is not that big of a deal because all of our Regenesis cards instantly special summon themselves to your side of the field. This card also has the ability during the end phase of the turn that a monster on your side of the field that includes B.E.S in its card name or a copy of Big Core is destroyed and sent to the graveyard. You can special summon from your deck one monster that includes B.E.S in its name or a copy of Big Core, basically replacing your copy of your B.E.S monster that did get destroyed, which is a really cool effect to guarantee us a copy of a B.E.S monster on the field. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing 2, and that's going to be 2 copies of Regenesis Birth. Birth is an amazing 2-out in the build with the ability to actually send a Regenesis monster from the deck to the graveyard, then target a face-up monster that your opponent controls and change it to face-down defense position, basically making this card a Book of Moon. Also, during your opponent's turn, you can actually send this card to the graveyard to special summon as many Regenesis monsters as possible with different names from your hand, graveyard, and or banishment, but send them to the graveyard during the end phase, which is not that big of a deal because we can just recover them back, which is really cool to actually just swarm the board with our Regenesis cards. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start with a single copy of Psychic End Punisher. Psychic End Punisher is really good as an option deck, so you play level 8s and Ash Blossom, which is actually a tuner in the build, to instantly bring this card out to your side of the field and go in for game. We play a single copy of Jura the Cursed Thunder God. This card is amazing in the build to be able to make, because this card is an awesome effect just to help us gain life points and board wipe the field. Let me see a copy of Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign. This card is awesome to be able to summon as basically one of the best level 10 synchro options in the entire game currently. Plus this card gets absolutely massive and drops the attack points of your opponent's monster based on the amount of banished cards. Let me see a copy of Dingirsu. Dingirsu is great in the deck to basically just send a card to the graveyard when it does touch the field, plus it makes Zeus super easy. Let me see a copy of number 38. Number 38 is great in the deck as a 1-up to basically just use this card as a spell negate. We might see a copy of Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon. Flare Metal is awesome in the deck to be able to summon to your side of the field, because this card basically makes so every time your opponent breathes, they're going to take 500 points of damage, which is awesome. Plus this card is just super cool to be able to summon out to your side of the field. We might see a copy of Dark Armed, the Dragon of Annihilation. This card is awesome to help you pop cards on the field, and it's super good to be able to make, but you always want to use its effect during the main phase 2, as after you activate its effect, it cannot attack for the rest turn, but it's really good as a 1-up in the build. Let's see a copy of Big Eye. Big Eye is great just to take control of your opponent's monsters, and it's a really good option in the build. Let's see a copy of Typhon. Typhon's great in this deck to basically use this card as a skill drain for 3,000 attack point monsters and a bounce. We may see a copy of Zeus. Zeus is an awesome option in the deck. Basically, just use this card as a board wipe. We may see a copy of Underworld Goddess. Underworld Goddess is great in the deck to out towers like boss monsters. We may see a copy of World Gears. World Gears is very interesting in the deck, as this card is usually during your main phase, if you control this card that was link summoned using 3 monsters that had 3 different types and attributes on the field, and destroy all other cards on the field, which is a crazy powerful deck, because all of our Regenesis monsters actually have different attributes and types, making it super easy to make this card and then board wipe the field. We might see a copy of Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. This card is great to be able to summon out to your side of the field, because if this card is link summoned using a level 7 or higher monster as a material, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, and it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects either. And when this card destroys an opponent's monster at battle, you can activate one of these effects to either make this card gain 1,500 attack points, this card can make a second attack during the following battle phase, or you non-targeting banish a card from the field. And then a single copy of SP to basically use this card as a double interruption, and then finally a single copy of IP to either make SP or Underworld Goddess during the opponent's turn. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoy. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a B.E.S. Regenesis deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try, because it's just so fun to be able to play, and it's awesome how well the Regenesis cards work with B.E.S. So that's going to be this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.